Hey people, it's Niles talking. I originally was gonna turn this into a community post, but it was too big, so I thought I'd make a video out of it. Now, what inspired this when I was watching a video about Kievan Rus, which was the medieval state that is the precursor of modern Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. And I was watching it, and basically, Kievan Rus was founded by Vikings. And what happened is that Vikings traveled down into what we now know as Ukraine, conquered it, and their conquering of Ukraine created the first political entity that was the forerunner of these three nations. And eventually, within the story of the Kievan Rus, they eventually threw them out, the Vikings. But with all the fighting within them amongst all the tribes, they then invited them back in as a neutral party to rule over them as one of their kings. And this was the beginning, I think, if I remember right, of the first Kievan Rus kingdom. And I was so enamored by this history because I remember meeting a Danish woman, and when I told her about this, she said, well, we wouldn't want to really talk about our role in this because we don't like Russia. Russia really interferes with our country with helicopter and jet planes over our airspace trying to intimidate us. And so it makes me think that 1,000 years ago, all these warriors coming into this country, and they set off a chain reaction of events that created this monster of a nation. And I don't say it because I have any negative feelings towards Russia. It's just the way the Danes view it. This huge nation that now threatens them, and no one could have seen this coming. It reminds me often in how Black history people like to boast about things. They say, oh, Greek scholars arrived in Egypt to learn, and that's where they got all their knowledge. And people don't really make the clue. The invasion and dissolution of Egypt was begun with the people coming to study. The small, weak people, or the Greeks at the time, came and learned and then took what their knowledge back to Greece, became bigger, stronger, and more powerful, and then took over Egypt. And that was one of the big invasions that really started the demise of the Egyptians as an independent people. And if you really think about it, Egypt is what South Africa would have looked like if it weren't for the fact that South Africa is very isolated relative to Egypt, so millions of people couldn't just come in huge waves. So what I'm trying to get at with this whole Seeds of Destruction video is the fact that so much of Black history, Black people like to do benevolent actions, and no one ever considers that the long-term consequences of these. So just as in Kievan Rus, the Vikings taking over Ukraine and setting up their kingdom eventually created this huge enemy on their doorstep that is far bigger than all four of their nations combined: Denmark, Finland, Sweden, and Norway combined. In the same way, Black people create their own enemies through their benevolence and refusal to think about long-term consequences. What is good today will not be good tomorrow. What is not good tomorrow will become disastrous in a few years. So anyway, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. I would like to hear your thoughts. Peace.